It's Fulham Fix, the final Fulham Fix of the first series. Ivan,
are we going series or season?
Good question. Well, the football season is over.
It's very American to say a season, isn't it? A season of telly.
Yeah.
Series is very British. So
I like series. I feel more comfortable with series, don't you?
Okay. And cricket, it's a series in cricket, isn't it?
You do have test series in cricket.
We're going to stick with series then.
Exactly.
I'm sorry I interrupted you, in which case. You want to go again?
No, what I was going to say was that I've enjoyed it very much, mate. One downside that has come from it is it's all flown. We've had some amazing correspondence.
Yeah.
Fulham Pets has not taken off the way that I would have expected or liked it to.
Yeah. What, hashtag Fulham Pets?
And by that I mean, when we were talking off record, we were saying politely, like, I ain't got that much coming in on that. And we were saying, let's fluff it up. Next series, we'll talk Fulham Pets a bit more. We'll pretend we got loads.
Yeah.
And then we'll do it. Let's be honest about it. We've had one Fulham Pet.
A dog called Metro, I think.
There's a dog called Metro.
Yeah.
That is not enough because Jeff's cat called Zolly cannot be the only Fulham pet kicking around alongside this dog called Metro.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I was full of enthusiasm about Kostas. There's rabbits called Kostas Mitroglou.
Mate, there's a hamster called Hugo Rodieger. Somewhere. Someone's got to have a hamster called Hugo Rodieger.
Your dog's called Steve Marley. We know that for a fact.
Without a doubt. Yeah, the full name, Steve Marley.
So look, without messing around now, I know everyone's playing hard to get a little bit.
Has anyone got a goldfish called Gabor Kirai? Come on.
Could happen. In my head, I just thought then Kit would be a nice name for a pet. Anyway, so get your Fulham Pets in time for the next series because so far we only have one to read out.
Yeah.
And that is not an episode worth of material.
So that's our first hashtag. So that's hashtag Fulham Pets. If you have a pet that you've named after a current Fulham player or a past Fulham player, use the hashtag Fulham Pets and let us know what they're called. And in the next series of Fulham Fix, we're going to read those pets out. We're going to give your chinchilla a shout out on air. Think of that, okay?
And don't make us wait the whole off season doom scrolling with nothing coming in for Fulham Pets again and again every day.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So just get your Fulham Pets in.
Yes.
In other news,
go on,
Ivan,
mate. Yeah.
The other thing we've launched in the first series, which I hadn't expected us to until we started the conversations on Fulham Fix, was Finding Steed.
Hashtag Finding Steed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another hashtag that actually is flying a bit better than Fulham Pets. But I was playing a gig last week.
Yeah.
And
can we give it? Is it with your new band?
With my new band, 86 TVs.
86 TVs. Shout out.
There are Fulham fans that are coming to some of the gigs. Halfway through the third song in Nottingham, a man, I hope I'm not throwing him on the bus by saying this, clearly had a few drinks, was shouting at me, Felix, I've found Steed. I don't think he had found Steed because he was waiting after the gig with a cigarette.
Yeah.
And he was just saying, I love Fulham Fix and I love Finding Steed.
Right.
But that was an interesting...
So did you actually deliberately go and meet him after the gig to say, what have you got? What do we need? What do we need to know?
I went up like an inspector, like
took a little notepad out.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's your information? And he just went.
I love that.
Yeah.
Should we get notebooks? Finding Steed notebooks.
We need Finding Steed. If anyone out there manufactures notebooks that they can emboss
information.
Yeah, with little hashtag Finding Steed. That would be.
If you missed that, we were talking. That was with Charlie Cooper. We were talking about the fact that I think Charlie and his dad Paul Cooper from this country, obviously, they put Steve Mabronk in their all-time Fulham team, which wasn't so much about the greatest Fulham players, but more like players that have an essence of Fulham. Now, Steve Mabronk has both. He probably would be an all-time great at Fulham.
Yes.
Plus also having an essence of Fulham. We've been talking about legends of the club that we want to talk to.
Yeah.
Steed is very much on that list.
Yes.
And Steed is the one person that no one seems to have had any communication with. You spoke to Lewis Beaumorte about this.
I did. Pre-Man City game.
And he said, you will not find him.
Yeah, you won't get hold of him.
And if anyone knows anything about Steed, it would be Lewis Beaumorte, who had a telepathic understanding with him.
so that's very true.
So
what do we do then? Is this it? This is the final episode in Fulham Fix Series 1. Do we just wrap this up? Because what we've got is we've got Boa saying give up. I think Sylvain Legwinski might have even mentioned something and just gone, don't know. Good luck.
Who's our guest, by the way?
Who's our guest today? Yeah. Stick around, or fast forward. Let's say 6 minutes and hear the interview with him. And then we've got a few people saying that he's apparently playing in League 5 in France. Right. But hasn't apparently according to Wikipedia, hasn't actually featured this season.
Just out of interest, do you know where or what club that is?
Limonest, although that's not the full name. It's something Limonest. Hang on.
Well, is he playing? No, he's coaching.
Well, no. He was still playing 5th tier at the age of 43, I think. I'm going to Google FC Limonest. All right.
Is there any contact details?
Limonest, and the full name is FC Limonest Saint Didier.
Steed. I did a steed when the guy shouted. I did a steed, by the way, down the microphone. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
No, there's no Steve Malbronk, not even on the bench.
Ooh,
we got the manager, Reynaud.
Okay. All right. Well,
there's a number. Wait a sec. Hang on. Is there a phone number? Should I give him a call?
Steed was obviously one of the greats that we talked about, but we want to get on Fulham Fix. But in the future, so into next season, we're going to compile other greats, which probably, hopefully, be more findable than Steed is.
Yes.
So I'm talking, off the top of my head, Danny Murphy would be a good one.
Yep.
Slav.
I tell you what, Slavish Jokanovic. I would love to speak to him.
That'd be great.
Because I think a lot of fans hold him so close to their hearts. I mean, unbelievable coach he was for us.
And I have it on good authority. He's a really lovely guy as well, so I'm looking forward to that. Chris Coleman and Kit Simons, maybe together in a partnership.
Roy Hodgson. If he's let go from, not let go, but if he can let go of Crystal Palace, I think they're going to want to keep him.
Well,
I've heard
well. They're talking about Potter.
Are they?
Yeah.
He's back in the game nice and quick, isn't he? Great manager, Potter, though.
Roy did a really great overlap with Gary Neville, actually. Have you seen that?
No.
Very good. I'd love to speak to Roy.
Mickey Adams would be nice to get on.
Mickey Adams.
Bobby Zamora.
Mate, Bobby, of course. I missed Mickey Adams' Forever Fulham.
Oh, it was lovely.
Was it incredible?
Yeah, man, he got emotional as well.
Amazing reception, didn't he?
He got emotional. That
is so beautiful. He's remembered that way. Did he genuinely get emotional?
I think he did. He got choked up when he started, I think, walking towards the hammy end. And it was such a beautiful response.
How are you getting on with a number?
I think I've got one. Wait. I think I've got one. Here we go. So this is Limonest and Didier. This is us attempting to hashtag find Steed. I'm a bit nervous. Can't believe it's ringing.
Oui, allô?
Parlez-vous anglais?
Oui.
We're calling from Fulham Football Club in England. Do you know Fulham Football Club?
Yes.
Basically, we're doing the Fulham Fix, which is the official Fulham podcast, and we're kind of trying to track down an ex-player of ours, Steed Malbronk, and according to the internet or Wikipedia, he last played for you guys. Is that true?
Hmm?
And do you mind me asking, is he still playing for you guys?
For one player?
Steed Malbronk.
Steed Malbronk.
Steed Malbronk, yes.
Is he still playing for Limonest?
Wait.
Thank you.
He's going to get Steed. Is he going to get
Wait. No, don't go. Oh, God. Do you think he's speaking to Steve Malbronk?
He's not here.
He's not. Oh, no worries. Is he? Can I ask a question? Is he still playing, or is he managing or coaching?
No. He's not. He's not a player or a trainer.
Okay. Thank you very much for helping us out. Cheers. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
That was really sweet, actually. So wait a second, just to clarify there, because it didn't seem completely clear.
No, I feel like he spoke to Steed, who went, tell him I'm not here.
That had a vibe of...
Steed, Fulham's on the phone.
It had a vibe of, just tell him I'm out. And while you're talking, it's almost like Steed was like doing the actions, going like, play? Is he a play? Is a trainer? No. No, it was just not.
And it was just like, okay, bye. Oh my word. So from that, I gather that he probably did play for them at some point.
Yeah.
But not anymore. He's not there at all anymore, right?
Do you know what? I'm partly relieved that we didn't get to speak to Steed then because...
Did you? There was a point where I thought he was gone to get Steed.
Yeah, it very much felt like that. I'll just go and get him. Because the search goes on, Ivan,
It has to
basically.
go on.
This
We
is the
can't give up
start
there.
By the time we reach Series 2, there's notepads. We want more information. Don't forget, the priority is Fulham Pets, but secondary... let's get a bit more into finding Steed.
I've got a feeling this ain't going to get renewed for a second series, if I'm honest, mate. That's how we're ending it, going, this is our cliffhanger. We're going to tell you what your pets are called, and we might not find Steed still.
We're going to tell you what your pets are called.
Hey, when are the podcast awards out? Do we know when we get a nomination? We just put this episode in and see if we can get a nomination for that.
I tell you what, we might actually genuinely get a nomination for.
Go on.
Speaking to one of the greats that's ever played for Fulham, Sylvain Legwinski.
Who, arguably, we could have used just then, who could have spoken French and maybe explained himself a little better.
Yeah. So just to set up before we go into this conversation, just before Legwinski walked into the room, looking like a vision of a French actor, like a film star, a bit like Father Christmas, just proper legend.
Yeah.
Jeff had a conversation outside the room with him where Jeff felt, understandably, the need to contextualise who Sylvain was about to speak to him. And he mentioned, that I was in an indie band.
Yes.
Turns out Sylvain Legwinski loves indie guitar music.
Yeah.
Which couldn't be more perfect. So the start of this conversation is us freewheeling into his musical tastes, and he loves the Pixies.
Pixies are like his favourite band ever.
Yeah, and into Idols, Fontaines, like lots of sort of modern day indie music.
Yeah.
And if I could have dreamt up what Sylvain Legwinski would be into, it would be sort of cultured alternative indie music.
Without a doubt. And it's the decent indie, isn't it? It's like,
exactly. Good taste, really good taste. In my opinion.
I don't know how much of it has made the cut, but I think that the top 15 minutes is
music.
Us all talking about. I mean, a lot of it about the Pixies for me.
Yeah.
One of my. I mean, pretty much my favourite band of all time, Pixies, and I'm like, sitting opposite a Fulham great.
He loves Doolittle, doesn't he? He loves Doolittle.
I mean, Surfer Rosa, I think, or Come On
Rosa,
Pilgrim, I think he was talking about. And then we got onto Breeders, and then talking about Wet Leg, and how Wet Leg are basically, I personally think, are like the modern day Breeders. There's a real, connection there, and it was you, a guy that's properly entrenched in indie music that had to get us back on track and talk a little bit about. So I think it's you that literally went, anyway, should we talk football?
Yeah, well, it's not what I'm signed up for to do this.
No, you're only paid for the football side, not the music side.
I spent a lot of my life talking about those kinds of things. I wanted to talk to Sylvain Legwinski about being a box-to-box midfielder at the Cottage.
Well, I'm sick of football. I just wanted to talk about indie.
Anyway, so you will hear us splurging these different theories in front of Legwinski now, and it was a good time, wasn't it?
It was awesome, man. It was great, and I think a great episode to finish Series 1 on. Certainly better than Finding Steed, anyway. Listen, thank you so much for joining us on the Fulham Fix. I know that you've literally just landed, an hour ago?
Yes.
And you've come straight from the airport to join myself and Felix. And as you're walking through the door, we understand you were complaining to the guys here that you couldn't find any decent music on the radio when you're heading here. And, you're looking out for bands like, the Pixies and stuff like that. And that was it. Like, you're an indie fan. You're in the right place, mate. Felix is basically indie royalty right here. We're talking, one of the biggest British indie bands of the last sort of 10, 15 years. And so it's an absolute pleasure. And basically, we have now decided to start rolling halfway through a really in-depth chat.
About the Pixies.
About Surfer Rosa, which I'm sure there's going to be a load of people that haven't even got a clue what we're talking about.
Can I just make the first
go on, mate,
intersection there? I really love that Sylvain just walked in there and started talking about art and indie guitar music, because when Sylvain signed for Fulham, that was a thing that we assumed on him as a personality. Like, he's really cultured, artistic, and it was always fascinated about is he sort of into the arts outside of it? It's the first question I asked when I came in today. And the first thing you're doing is talking about music, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Go on, sorry. We should let him talk, actually, at some point. Go on.
Actually, music is very important. And art, as you mentioned. What I like in life is emotions. Yes. And music gives you emotion, painting, movie is a bit more difficult nowadays to find a movie that can do that. But yes, of course. So if somebody start to talk to me about art, I will engage because I think it's very interesting.
So when you obviously see, I know it might not be the case back then, but when you see the players these days and they come on, and they're getting off the coaches and they've all got these massive headphones in or the little AirPods, and most of the time, let's be honest, they're probably listening to. From what I gather, from when we get fed back in the stadium, the players want to hear these songs. It tends to be quite big hip hop songs, something with a beat that gets them pumped. Yeah. Did you, before sort of playing your big games, what did you listen to music, and what was the music that really used to get you ready for the games?
But we have in France you don't play music in the dressing room before the game at the time.
Oh, okay.
Really? No, we are very serious in France. You get prepared. You're tense. You're stressed. And
you embrace the anxiety. Sure.
When I arrived at Fulham, of course, there was the music, and every player got one game where he will pick up.
So it was a communal thing.
The music, yes. I forgot which one I picked up when it was my turn, but I know that what I wanted to do is to put some Dead Can Dance album, just to so the guy does not understand what's going on around it. But I didn't do it, and I have to say I forgot which song. But yes, all the guys were listening to soul music, rap music, and things like this. I like rap, by the way.
Yeah.
The soul music, the R&B, it's not my stuff personally.
How did you get into music? Were you always into guitar music from a young age? But
in fact, come back very, very. In my family, there wasn't any music at home and anything. When I become a teenager, and go to the college and things, and all the guys knew all the music, and I knew absolutely nothing, and I was ashamed.
Right.
So I start to listen what they were saying, and at the time it was I was 12, 13, so it was Simple Minds, The New Order, The Cure, the new wave things. So I start here, and when I arrive at the lycée, I don't know the equivalent English, French, college, lycée.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So age 15. My best friend in the class was he's a painter. He could do art. He could do sculpture and stuff like this. And he started to give me bands and names and stuff like this. So that's through him I discovered the Pixies, which become my historical band for myself, because I'm very loyal. So that was my best band ever. So he will stay my first.
They are your favourite band. When people ask me, I mean, I always go. I've got to be honest. I always go the Beatles because it was such a big part of growing up, and it's what my dad used to play. But then I always say after that the Pixies, just because.
Oh, really? Would they be saying?
100% the Pixies. I mean, I've seen them a ton of times, and
they've got something special. And especially with, I think the key point of this band is Kim Deal.
Oh yeah.
Because when you look at what she's done after, you realize how important. Frank Black albums missed Kim Deal, in fact, for me.
Yes. I'm glad you brought up Kim Deal, because what Kim Deal was really great at was doing the simplest things very well. And whereas most musicians would tend to always overcomplicate things that happen, it's hard just to be as restrained as you can be inside this sort of noise.
I agree.
Which makes it really, really affecting.
And she did that with this, the amps and the Breeders. The first album of the Breeders, Pod, I think.
Pod, yeah.
And the first amp album, I mean, it was, for me,
it's unbelievable, man. It's fantastic.
Am I dreaming? Are we talking to
this is incredible.
About
is that the amp album? Is that the one with "Happiness Is a Warm Gun" cover as well? They did on it, I think, as well.
I don't know the title, but I can tell you the cover pocket is red with a plug.
It is, yeah. Oh my God, this is wonderful. Isn't it? I mean, I could genuinely, hand on heart, I could probably talk about this for ages, and I think we're definitely due another Breeders album soon. It has been ages, hasn't it? I mean, but you know, their title TK, I thought was a fantastic record.
She was the most successful after the Pixies.
Without a doubt.
Period.
Interestingly.
For me, Fran Black was good, but not as good as what she did.
Teenager of the Year was a fantastic record, and then I feel like he started to go a little bit country.
The first two albums were good.
Yeah.
First two albums.
And you can know that the
I'm picturing Fulham fans dropping off all the time. They're not thinking, are we listening to Six Music or is this
amazing?
The XFM.
The Pixies, the last couple of records, or two or three, you know, they've done the comeback records, and there's been some nice moments in there, but what you are missing is Kim Deal. You're missing that, like you said, that simplicity and
restraint.
Talking of restraint.
Before we go too far into the music world, I want to talk to you about football.
It's about time someone took it that way.
You came to Fulham, man, like halcyon time in all of our lives. First year Fulham in the Premier League, like really beautiful time. Don't know if you'd have known or not, but 5 years previous, Fulham Football Club nearly didn't exist. We were a bottom tier football team, and it would have been beyond anybody's comprehension that Fulham were going to be a team in the Premier League. Do you remember it as a romantic time as we do?
For me, it is. Although we may not have the same definition of romanticism, but I understand what you say. But for me, to be honest, I didn't know the club.
Okay,
playing in France when the club was in League 3 when Al Fayed bought it. I've got no idea what the club was, and to be honest as well, I've never been somebody who I've watched a lot of football on TV.
Right.
So the English football at the time on the French TV, very difficult to see in a game. Yeah. But yes, for me when I arrive here at Fulham, I knew a bit about the story, but I didn't have these things of this club coming from nowhere.
Yeah.
That you felt, and even the players, Louis Sarr, for example, who was already playing in the Championship, Louis knew that I was discovering. I didn't leave it. Like you did.
But we remember that time then as probably the most special time to be. I mean, I remember that first year in Premier League, being a teenager and like seeing grown men crying constantly because they couldn't believe the style of football that we were playing at the highest level. And that was part of you, because you must have come to play with John Tigana. You say you didn't know about the club. That must have been the reason that you came to the club, right?
That's one of the reasons, yeah. But what was good for me, of course, to see that club coming. But when I arrived, I didn't know enough. But what was good for me was to play in England. And I realized when I started to play in England, coming from France, having Italian-orientated football style in France, because at the time the Italians were winning a lot, so we tried to do the same thing, which was basically we don't concede goal, and hopefully we're gonna score one at the end. Yeah. And all of a sudden I arrive in England, and any single teams wanted to score one more goal than you.
Yes.
And it changed radically the way of playing football. And I have to say, in the past 2-3 years in France, I was a bit bored playing for Monaco and Bordeaux, so two big teams at the time. Every team was coming, and they were parking the bus in front of a goal. You haven't got any much fun to play to play football like this, always in the opposition side, and having a wall of players. So arriving in England, all of a sudden you got space. You can play football. Yeah, it's hard, it's physical, but enjoyable.
When did you first know about Fulham's interest in you?
It was a long time. Oh, yes. In fact, it's through talking with John Collins. Okay. I played with John in Monaco, so we were still in contact, and I was curious with English football. Yeah. So I asked him, and I believe John talked to Jean
he sold it
Tigana about that, and then it moved forward.
Brilliant.
So it was that. It was down to, you know. So you weren't on their radar, I suppose. It was kind of fed through your friends you previously played with.
I don't know more than that. I don't know more than what I've done. But Jean Tigana trained me in Monaco 3 or 4 years. So
so you still had that connection.
He knew me. Yeah.
And it wasn't just Fulham, was it? It was it Borussia Dortmund were also interested?
Oh,
is
were
that
they?
right?
Dortmund at the time, yes. I've got Fulham and Dortmund, and in fact, Dortmund was a massive club.
Yeah, huge.
But that was living in England.
That was a big pull.
We talked about music.
There's better indie music in there in England.
Listening mainly English music.
Yeah.
I was more. I wanted to live.
Are we bringing it back to music?
It was a decision.
No, but it was important.
Really?
It was important for me.
Oh wow, that's incredible. I don't want to get dragged back into music, so I want to talk to you about football. And the thing that I thought really interesting then was that you were saying you played a different type of football when you came to England, where it's like end to end. Because we really think of you as a like box to box midfield player. Now, like when people reflect on your time at the club, were you not that before you came to Fulham? Was it the English game that sort of stretched you to be running?
I was able to run.
Right.
I was able to run long.
Yes.
Even in France.
Right.
When you say that, do you mean like? Oh, okay. It's for a long period of time. No, I'm thinking long as in hoofball. They park the bus, they hoof the ball. You're the runner.
Physically, for running, I was very good.
Right.
So I can run long time, repeat effort. So it allows me to do these box to box things during the during the game.
As you're saying that, that's so interesting because that made me think of a basketball player. And I know that
my father was a basketball player.
Your dad was a basketball player?
I wanted to play basketball.
Really?
Not football. And my father, who played basketball, wanted to play football.
Oh, right.
And he played. Yeah, his mother didn't want him to play football because too dangerous. So he has to play basketball. He ended up to play in the best team in France, in Vichy, where I was born.
Right.
Wanted to do football. And me, as a kid, I grew up in the training ground, the gymnasium,
sure,
with this tall, big dude coming from America or Africa or whatever. And that was my dream, to be a basketball player. But in the countryside, there wasn't any clubs.
There's no basketball teams.
So I played 6 to 10 basketball. And I played 6 games.
Right.
Or 8 games.
And that was
3 every season.
Okay.
3 games. So, and one day my father told me, listen, your friend are playing football every Saturday. There is a tournament.
So that's why, was it?
Go there and you come back to basket after. So I went to football.
And you just had a natural...
And then...
and did you feel immediately, I'm just better than everybody at this? Like,
No. I was
really?
Just having fun.
Right.
I mean, when you're a kid, you want to have fun. That's all you want to win the game you're playing, but it's mainly being with your friends.
Amazing. So there wasn't that ambition of I'm going to be.
No. When I arrived when I signed in Monaco as an academy player, I was 18. It was pure luck.
Wow.
It was pure luck.
Well, see, that's the thing, because obviously 18 is quite late, isn't it, to get discovered, to get signed?
Most of the guys from age 14, 15.
Sometimes even younger at this point. But so you must have never... You were playing for fun. At no point did you think this is a career of mine.
No, I didn't thought I could do professional.
So does that? So just out of curiosity, does that mean that you had something else in mind at 18 years old, that you're like, I'm going to do this when I grow up?
The thing is, I haven't got much in mind. No, but at the time, I got absolutely no clue what I wanted to do.
No, not many 18-year-olds do, I suppose, do they?
For some people, it's more difficult to figure out what they want to do.
But unusual for a footballer, because I bet everyone that you played with in that Fulham team knew exactly what they wanted to do from being a young kid.
I didn't ask.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess
so I don't know. You will have to ask them. But no, I never thought I will end up a professional football player.
Incredible.
So it was a great surprise.
There were some really magic moments of your time at Fulham. There's a goal against Newcastle. that. I think is it Bjarni Goldbeck gives it to you, and then you just ping it from about 40 yards.
I don't know
to win that game.
Who give me the ball?
Because you're miles out.
I was away, and I remember that game because we were struggling. And Newcastle was struggling as well.
Right, yeah.
And it was we were somewhere probably in March or April. So there was 5 or 6 games left, something like this, and we were struggling for the relegation battles, and they score first.
Yeah,
and they start to park their team in front of the goal,
like Monaco.
They start to play French.
Yes,
French,
and but the situation was such that both teams were really like this.
Yeah,
and I received that ball, as you said, very, very far away, and I thought. I can't pass the ball to anybody. There was nothing. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to shot. And maybe next time, when I got the ball here, a guy will come and open something.
Yeah.
And in fact, the ball went. And it went wide. It was the first new kind of balls, you know.
It moves in the air.
It went wide, and all of a sudden get back on the post and get in here.
Can you still see that happening?
Oh yes, this goal, yes, because I was shocked.
The endorphins that run through your body.
It was brilliant because the stadium exploded.
Yeah.
I don't mention the name of the stadium, of course, because.
It's
we should not have been there, I believe. But anyway, it was incredible atmosphere.
Really magic moment. The other one, which I also think, Jeff will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was at Loftus as well, when we're getting beat 2-0 at half-time at Tottenham.
Yeah.
And you scored a winner in injury time.
96 minutes,
was it injury time?
Yeah, I think it's like the 6th minute of injury time.
I remember that one because my buddy is a Tottenham fan. And so every time I see him or I got the opportunity, I remind him that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like all
Can you still see that? Can you still
completely, because I anticipate a pass from a Tottenham guy. So I think I tackle, give the ball to Facundo Sava.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Give it back to me, and then I entering. So yes, I remember.
We were watching it back actually before you arrived, and it looks like someone tries to. The Tottenham player tries to like pull you back.
Down,
maybe I don't remember.
No,
I don't remember that. But no, it was I didn't score many goals, so I have to say I remember most of them very well.
Well, another one is it's to this day the only major tournament. Well, can't really call this a major tournament, can we? But when we won the Intertoto Cup,
massive tournament. That
you score in the first leg.
Did I?
I think you score, to make
against Bologna.
2-2 against Bologna. I think you score to make it 2-2, and then there's a massive brawl in the tunnel. Do you remember anything about that?
No, but me, it's funny because I remember Signori because I got a lot of problem with him, and I got a yellow card, and the referee me off. So at one stage, if you watch the game, I shoulder the referee.
Oh,
and I put him on the ground because I was running.
We don't have a culture of that at Fulham Football Club.
I was running at Signori.
So hang on,
try to get that Signori guy. And the referee was going in biais like this. You say that in English, okay? Yeah. And I thought, okay, he's gonna cross myself. What shall I do? And I said, okay, I don't stop. And I just bump into.
He's in your way, right? Yeah. You basically play chicken.
The referee didn't see me coming, and I thought, okay, I'm not gonna get Signori, so I'm gonna get the referee, and I shoulder him like that.
You've just said that in front of our press team at Fulham, who have been trying to say because Mitrovic pushed the referee last week, so we've been saying that's a very un-Fulhamish thing to do.
Yeah.
Next thing.
Turns out we've been doing it for
years. You know what? The referee didn't see me coming.
No,
he didn't thought I did that on purpose. And maybe you don't even see it on the the pictures because 20 years ago the quality of the TV
all you have to say is prove it.
Blurry,
now you've got 20 camera around the beach.
Exactly,
at the time there was 5.
Brilliant.
So I don't know.
Look, if he's in your way and you're trying to play a game of football.
I forgot about the brawl and
there's a brawl in the tunnel apparently.
Well, I must have escaped that.
I remember that, yeah. But we win it again. Inamoto scores a hat-trick. I think, did he score a hat-trick in the final?
Yeah, because they called it the nickname, they changed the name to the Inamoto Cup. Yeah.
Which we haven't won a trophy since that day.
That's the last.
Oh, wait, unless you call it
Oh, we won.
playoff-
Actually, won playoff
final.
fight. Yeah.
When we
Yeah,
come
but
on,
there was a beautiful European campaign.
Oh my God, to make it- yeah.
It was more than this Intertoto Cup.
It was unbelievable.
The Intertoto Cup is a symbol for Fulham to be in European Cup and win a trophy.
Exactly.
But as you mentioned at the beginning, it was the Intertoto Cup.
yeah,
I
but you
remember
know,
we play Sochaux, we play a few teams. I think we play some Finnish team
probably,
at the beginning, which was actually very hard because we had 2 weeks of training. These guys were in the middle of their season,
right? So they were.
so
fit
we were
and
not
ready to
fit,
go,
and they were extremely fit. So we struggle a little bit.
Do you still pay attention to Fulham? Does it still hold a place in your heart?
No, well, I don't see many games, but of course, as soon as I got a newspaper when there is the English league, I look at it. It's a great season this season.
Oh, we're having an incredible season. Playing great football as well.
I've seen a few games, not entirely, but a few. The football seems to be good. Yeah.
Because in England, you played for Ipswich afterwards, and then you ended up playing non-league football.
I played Sanniot. I won a trophy with them.
Right.
So
How was it? Was it?
But in fact, a guy I was passing my coaching badge with, I forgot his name, an Irish guy who played for West Ham, Ginger. Steve Lomas. Very nice guy.
Yeah.
And I was going in Ireland to pass my coaching badge. And when they said, yes, I'm doing this, would you like to come and do a bit of training? So, I remember driving up in Sanniot twice a week and the weekend for the game. It was a good memory.
Do you still play football?
Sometimes 5v5, but I'm more into paddle tennis right now.
Right, okay. It's what, sorry?
Paddle tennis.
Yeah.
So,
Paddle tennis.
Someone telling me this
Beautiful game. Beautiful
It's
game.
like a mix between tennis and squash, isn't it?
Yes,
Because
yes,
you've got a walled court.
You've got plexiglass on the back. You've got a grill in the middle.
Yeah, and you can back. I only know this because I had to do a filming job at one of these paddle tennis tournament at the LTA in London, and it's insane, and the fitness required.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Yeah.
So that's one hell of a way to keep fitness up and stuff. I mean, you can't play it and not fit. It's so fast.
It's actually a sport. Even when you get old, you can play.
Yeah,
because it's a lot about, as you mentioned, squash, reading trajectories, and it's because the pitch is smaller than a tennis court. You don't have big, longer run to do.
No.
So it's more about anticipating and.
You don't play it singles; it's doubles, isn't
No,
it?
it's double. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can play single, but it's not as fun.
I can
But
say.
double is a lot of fun because you need to be naughty on these to try to find angle. Try to find where there will be a bad bounce and and then when you don't when you're in a defensive positioning. It's really interesting as well to make sure that you get the ball back there and try to get the net.
Yeah.
Really nice, and to watch is incredible.
Oh man, it really is amazing to watch.
The guys are going, they're smashing, they put the ball outside. The guy, because there is a door each side of the net, they get out of
run out.
Put the ball back in, get back in. It's incredible. These guys are incredible.
Tell me if this is amateur psychology, but from basketball to the way you played football to how you just described that, there's the correlations to me seems to be always being involved. Something's always happening, and you're always kind of high dynamic, always involved in it. Yeah. Would you say that's the case?
You can ask that question to my mother when I was a kid at home. I remember. I was start with basketball and then I went to football. But I played basketball and football.
Yeah.
And a year after, I started to play ping pong. And the year after, my father told me to, because he was traveling all week to the gymnasium for ping pong, for table tennis, and then to the football pitch, and then to the basketball ground. So my father said, "Now you pick up one.
Needs to be one.
No, I love sports. I always did sport, and now I'm 50 years old, and I'm a bit scared about the time where I won't be able to be competitive at any game.
So it's still,
that's scaring me, and I cross my finger with paddle, because you can play longer.
Yeah, 100. It does seem like it. Honestly, it's an exciting game to watch. That's amazing.
The thing that's always really interests me about footballers is because the Maccabees, my band, we ended when I was about early 30s, mid 30s. I remember thinking when it happened, this is what it feels like to be a professional sports person when you're still quite young and the thing you've known ends and you're like, oh, you're suddenly in the complete unknown of the world. And so I always feel like I have an affinity with sports people, like that sort of time of your life of thinking, where am I going to move? What am I going to do? Did you struggle with like life after football? Is that something you prepared for?
But yes, of course you struggle. But for me, I didn't really look back. Of course, all of a sudden there are certain type of emotion you don't have. I mean, entering in a stadium, especially in England, where you can feel the tension.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. When I started football, I was scared of this atmosphere. But at the end, it was energy for me.
Yeah.
And seeing you enter a pitch. What struck me in England compared to France, for example, in France you will have the cop behind the goals, singing all the games and stuff. In England, you didn't have that, and you can enter on the pitch, and for the warm up, there's no noise.
Yeah,
but you can feel how the guys are tense.
Yeah,
you can feel how it is important for them.
Yeah,
the result of their team. So this is something that you miss when you like a concert, I suppose, when you play music, and you can see the fans jumping and getting ready for the big night. That was the same with
I guess that's about purpose, isn't it? It's about being involved in something that really means something to people.
Yeah.
You know, it's a similar.
So did you feel a bit lost after?
Oh my God, I was completely lost. Yeah.
Did you? What did you do for the first year or two? Sorry.
What I do first year after Maccabees. Do you know what a weird thing I used to find is even coming off tour when the Maccabees were still going, I used to get low at about 9 o'clock at night, and it took years for me to realise that my body was used to having adrenaline sent
at
through
that
it
point,
at that time.
Yeah.
So I used to have this weird feeling of being completely lost or something's wrong.
Yeah.
Suddenly at the same time every night, and then you have to cerebrally work out over a long period of time. Oh no.
It's a bit like a second nature, in fact, because when you get used years after years to do something at a specific time of the day, your body is ready naturally. Yeah. It's a second nature, and to relate it to that in football, if you play at 3 o'clock, you should train all week at 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
because then your body through the whole week will be ready at this peak at 3 o'clock. So if you, in your life you get used to have these 9 o'clock things where you need to be at your best, your body, your mind, prepare yourself to that. So when this disappears, it's like you're missing your track.
Yeah. This is also why all bands should rehearse drunk.
Because that's how you're going to play,
you have to simulate the energy at all times. That's as preparation. That's the difference.
we can't use drug with football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So some of the players that you played with here, your memories of them when you first joined the club. I was chatting with Sean Davis as well before today, and I said Sean's good. Sean's always good. You know, he's down the club a lot, and he's always sort of kept up with Fulham and part of Fulham. But I said that, you know, I'm chatting to yourself today, and he said you were always voted worst trainer, as in and like when it came to training, you were the worst, and that even if you weren't the worst, when they used to vote on a Friday who was the worst before a game, they would just vote you to annoy you. Do you remember this? Is this something that
only competition is important?
Yes,
exactly. Like is that it now? So
but I don't know if you remember the prep at the time.
The what? Sorry,
the prep. Roger Propos.
Oh yes, we've heard a lot about him. Yeah.
And Roger Propos, because in fact, it's not exactly what Sean said, but Sean was young at the time.
Yeah, naive.
He was a kid at the
whippersnapper.
No, but one day Roger Propos came to me and said, "Listen, when I saw you coming, I thought you will be so bad at training and fine because you were always mourning and complaining and blah blah blah."
Simon Morgan.
And he said, "But at the end, I watched all the thing you did, and I was one of those who was working the most."
Oh, really?
So I look like I'm not doing it.
So it became like more of an in-joke.
No, but for me, the physical training.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a quote of Roger Propos.
Yeah.
Sean was talking about the game. The little game at the end. But for me, the fact of mourning, having fun of the situation, allowed me to finish the session and do it because for me it wasn't enjoyable to do.
There is a story which might be true otherwise that you used to, on your way to training, on your way back, have a cigarette. You used to do that?
I stopped.
You stopped doing it
whilst at Fulham.
But no. I stopped a few years ago because they finally I got a product of substitution. We said that.
Yeah.
Oh, the vaping stuff.
The vape allowed me because cigarette is a thing I've done the stupid things when I was a kid, and I enjoy it, I have to say. So it was impossible for me to.
So you smoked through your whole football career?
I wasn't smoking a lot, right. and basically, I know some people were talking about that because after the training ground, I would have gone to Wimbledon Village.
Sure,
right, yeah.
Having because I was this beautiful place to eat some very good chicken, Lebanese guys, very good. And this was my time where I was sitting having a coffee and 2 or 3 cigarettes.
Yeah, sure.
So people who were seeing me smoking in chain 3 cigarettes.
Yeah.
But then the next cigarette would have been in the evening.
So
I wasn't smoking
so it wasn't,
that much.
Yeah. It's not like at half time or anything.
But of course at the time as well, if I was going out and you drink a bit of alcohol, having a dinner, I would have smoked a lot. But no, I was smoking 5-6 cigarettes
that's not so bad.
a day. But that's a cultural things as well because I was... when I was playing in Monaco after the game, we were 6-7 players having a fag in the shower. But
actually, in the shower at the end of the game.
Oh yeah. But we could not smoke in front of
so you had to do it whenever everyone's gone.
Because of the steam, you go in the we went in the shower and have a fag talking about the game and.
Brilliant.
Another thing Sean said. Sorry, he said that as well as saying you're one of the nicest blokes ever, he said that you were of all the players of that time had the questionable dress sense. Now, is there any sort of comeback you'd like to take? That I'm looking at you now. You look like a suave guy. You got a nice hoodie on, mate.
I think that might speak more of Sean than it does.
Maybe
my dress code has the same problem I have with the music in France. Nobody understand it.
Yeah. Okay. From a different world.
I don't know what to say, but I remember, and maybe make reference of that because the first year I arrived, I was wearing, it was a summer, I was wearing a Birkenstock.
That's what he said. Yeah, he said you're in Birkenstocks.
But the thing is, 3 years after that, many of the guys were wearing a Birkenstock. That's the problem when you are avant-gardist.
Absolutely, man.
So I will turn it that way.
Mel was telling me a story just before. The press officer at the club that you did a piece for the Telegraph, and as you were going to take your photo, I don't know if you remember it, but he said, as you were going to take your photo, he said, most footballers are very vain and they'll check their hair and everything like 150 times and do it for the photo. And you walked out and he said that he thought your hair was a bit messy. So he said, do you want to do your hair? And you just looked him straight in the eyes and just messed it up even more when I'm ready.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember. But actually, I have to say, if you go in my at home, you won't find any brush, any.
Don't need it, mate.
Sylvain, everything.
My hands are my brush.
Go on.
Mate, I'd say everything that I could possibly dream about you watching football has come true.
They say don't meet your heroes, but this has been a beautiful moment.
Wild.
Absolutely beautiful moment.
I'm not like this. I've never been like that. If I go to the hairdresser, it's opportunism. I never take an appointment at another. I enter. Do you have a room for me? Yes. Okay. Let's do it. So sometimes for 8 months, I don't go to the hairdresser, and I got the hair going everywhere.
What's the
mad professor?
What's the longest you've ever let your beard grow out?
Good question.
Long, I don't know, long, but very, very.
It's taken a while. You've let it go out. You've let it do that thing where it starts to go that way as well.
No, not that much, but I never shaved. That's another thing. I never brush, and the only time I shaved was when I was in the army.
Right,
because
you're in the army.
I have to do the army in France.
Oh, right,
it's military service.
Right, okay.
What age did you do that?
In '96.
Right. Yeah, well,
96. So any French man got to do the army.
Cool.
Not anymore.
So you would have been quite young.
23. I did at the last. Normally, it's when you finish lycée, 18 before between lycée and university. You have to spend 1 year, 12 months in the.
It's going to sound very naive, but are you growing a good beard at that young age? I mean, I'm cracking.
No,
40
but I have to shave every morning because you can't have a little thing.
Can't even have stubble.
Yeah. So of course, never shave in my life. Arriving, I've got foam. I do it with a soap. So basically, 6 o'clock, I did that. So I cut myself all along the chin, going. Look at the French flag going up, and can hear the splick splock of my blood going on the floor. So it was a drama for me.
It wasn't for you, was it?
No.
Yeah.
Well. This has given us more than I think we could ever hope for.
Before we go, I like asking this question. Just pops into my head. In an all-time Fulham team, if you're playing centre midfield and you can pick one centre midfield partner out of the other Fulham legends, who would it be?
Okay.
Danny Murphy, Polina. Give me some other great centre midfielders for Fulham.
Damien Duff.
Moussa Dembele.
Oh, Moussa Dembele, yeah.
Or
you're gonna throw,
let's just say Lee Clark, shall we? Because you played with him.
Yeah, I played with Lee.
Steve Malbronk? I know he was more attacking.
But Lee and Steve were more attacking. But which one was the first?
Said Danny Murphy.
Danny Murphy. I think Danny Murphy because we are more complementary. He got better football, and I can run and do things. So I would say the.
It's how a proper footballer thinks. Is like, how am I going to complement them?
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it should be.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's been a pleasure, man. Honestly, a real pleasure.
Pleasure for me as well to come back here.
Sylvain, I mean, the French wizard. What a dude, man.
Love him.
That was great. That was great. I think that, again, one of those moments where I'm like, we're so lucky to do this.
Yeah,
This is such an honour and just so cool to be, really in the same room. Do you want to know something quite cool that I was told just before we were rolling on this? Because we've done this a good sort of month or two after we chatted to Sylvain.
Sure.
Is he called earlier?
Yeah.
The club, just for a chat.
Just to catch up.
Literally on the phone for half an hour, just checking in. How's things, guys?
And that's sort of, you would hope that the Fulham players had a relationship with a club like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
in some ways.
definitely. I want to feel like it's that way. I mean, I think it is for most of them. If you speak to anyone that's, I mean, just from giving out the Forever Fulham Awards, when you speak to some of these players, how fondly they speak
exactly.
about their time in the club and with the club. And, it's really lovely to hear.
It's a great club.
It's a great club. It is a great club. So that's it, man. Series 1.
So that's Series 1 done.
We're done, man.
There's plenty of stuff to work out Series 2 because there's so many legends to talk to.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I just want to get into it a bit further, right?
Without a doubt.
I mean, we did talk about the lack of correspondence on Fulham Pets, but we have had correspondence.
Oh, we got some... this is it.
People have been getting in touch, which is really, really sweet. So I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has got in contact with us.
Yeah, I mean, I might read out just some quick comments. Like Tina Martini said, so great to see a new generation of fanatics. Fair play on their favourite players, but as a supporter since the early 70s, I would have a selection with some amazing additions. This is talking about Charlie and Paul Cooper's starting 11.
Yeah, but I think even in terms of guests as well, it'd be nice to get some players from, 70s in that period of time.
Without a doubt.
Talk about Fulham in the older years.
Without a doubt. Like this, this is really nice. El Dorito said, from a Fulham fan not living in London, Ivan telling the story of getting excited and getting his wallet out because he met another Fulham fan is so true.
Yeah, that's nice. That's touching.
I mean, there's literally hundreds of comments. Fulham is such a great club. It's so nice to meet other fellow Fulham fans. It actually gives me goosebumps. Fulham till I die. I'm
going to stop you there.
Yeah, go on.
I've got one. Which this is my comment of Series 1 so far in terms of correspondence.
Okay.
Apart from obviously the Fulham Pet that we've received. Bear in mind when I read this out, but there's no punctuation here.
I think I know what you're about to read. I think
there's no commas or full stops. Okay. Ivan Berry, world's sharpest jawline. What is the secret, you Riverside raver?
I mean, I saw that and I read it and I laughed. I mean, for Charles, who's written this, I'm going to insert a question mark on the end of that because I think it is a question. What is the secret, you Riverside raver? So hang on. So are you asking what is the secret
to your jawline?
To my jawline, not to like me asking questions on a podcast or any of that.
I think you just said.
So what is the secret to having the sharpest jawline?
Genetically.
Well, I think you've answered it right there. Is genetics. I think my mum and dad both have pretty strong jawlines.
Yeah.
And I think I came out the womb looking a bit like David Coulthard, with like just like all angles and stuff.
Well, that feeds into my second favourite comment.
There's another one, is there?
Which is simply, Ivan Berry's growing on me.
I mean, I've only been at the club 10 years, so it's really nice that it took asking a few questions to Berbatov to grow on you. Who's that? Can we not name and shame? Because I'm honoured that I've grown on you finally.
I actually don't know who it is.
Like an ingrowing hair or a wart. Thank you. That's really great.
I don't have it.
Can I just say there's loads of love for you.
Thank you very much.
That's all I'm going to say out there. I mean, they're literally, a lot of,
Have you heard the phrase Riverside Raver before?
Well, not since it was named the Berbatov stand.
Exactly. So you wouldn't call it that anymore.
No, you call it the... you call it something else, maybe. I don't know. We need to ask Berbatov what he would call it. I've never heard Riverside Raver, but I'm honoured to have that title.
Yeah.
If anyone's making notepads on the Finding Steed one, can we also put Riverside Raver on one? That'd be great. Yeah, is that all right?
I think we should cut our losses while you're still growing on the Fulham public.
Okay, all right. Like I said, 10 years, man. 10 years.
Yeah. Anyway,
why is it only just now?
Man. That's so funny.
All right. Well, look, man, it's been a lot of fun doing this.
Great. So dream list. Obviously, let's find Steed.
Yes.
Danny Murphy, Chris and Kit Simons.
That makes it sound like they're a married couple.
In some ways they are.
Chris and Kit Simons.
Chris Coleman and Kit Simons. Slav.
And
Edwin van der Sar.
Oh, yeah, why not?
That's a big one.
Let's get Edwin van der Sar on.
There's a lot to do. There's a lot to achieve.
That's so many. All right, man. Sorry, I'm waffling.
Don't forget to get Fulham Pets in so that we can tell you about the pets you have.
Yes. And if you can find Steed for us as well, that would really help.
All right, come on, Fulham.